Alright, we should be good to go. Welcome back everyone to yet another Moonshire Monday. Thanks everyone for joining. Thanks everyone for watching on YouTube who's watching the VOD. And look forward to another live stream. Today I'm going to be showing off some of the physics changes, or some physics updates. Specifically with some of the aerial jumping stuff, because I started working on a new video last week, and I ended up having to delay it a little bit because I wanted to work a bit more on the stuff that I'm talking about. And I'm going to be talking about the jumping, because it's been a long time since I made a devlog. I really need to break the dry streak, but it's kind of tough. It's kind of tricky for me to get out of that rut. But I'm seeing a lot of folks in chat already. Thank you so much for being here. Future34, Mr. Banana, Wolf, thank you so much for that. Like I said, today we're going to be working on some physics stuff, and the first thing I'm going to be showing is a balloon. So I made a balloon, and there's a few things to mention about the balloon. First is that it's just going to be a really good demonstration for the Z-axis stuff, because, you know, I can like walk around it and stuff. But it's one of the first instances where it's actually in the air, and it has air like physics too, because when I push it. Oh, that's so nice. That's so nice. Real Danny, welcome in. And I can make a whole bunch of these, and I programmed them to like have random colors too. Looks so nice, thank you. Are they similar to the old ones, or are they 100% new code? These are 100% new code. Because before, anytime you would see like hovering like this, where something went off the ground, there was no like physical reality. Sorry, there was no physical reality to that. It was strictly just like a visual. It just looked like it was going up and down. It was just like merging the sprites up and down. This time, they actually are using like the Z-axis physics engine. Now that I have the how there's different levels, how these guys are up here, and I think if I push this balloon off the ledge, it's going to like fall down to the ground like that. Oh, that's so nice. That is so nice. I love that. That is so cool. They're very colorful. Yeah. So what I did is I set it up where it cycles through RGB or through rainbow colors. I'm sorry, I'm starting a little bit. I need to get back on track. So the other thing about the balloons is that they use the color swapping code that I use for the hero. So the main character is able to like palette swap and change sprites, and the balloon is the same way, where if I open up here's all of the different prop sprites, and the balloon is down here. Let me open up some of this stuff. There we go. Are you solving any differential equation manually, or using any built-in physics? So it's using the built-in physics engine Box2D that Love2D provides, but Box2D, as the name implies, is a 2D physics engine. It doesn't have a third dimension. So in the game, and this is why I mean that these balloons are fully custom now, is it's using that custom Z-axis for the physics that I implemented, and that's how it's going up and down. Where before, it really was just like a fake sprite movement up and down. Now it actually is like going up and down in physical space. And that's why like I can, like these balloons here are stuck on the wall, but if I bounce one up, I can push it onto the ledge. It didn't go high enough. Let me try it again. I know I can do it. I just did it a second ago. The physics on this is a little bit wonky. No, dang it. There we go. Okay, I knew I could get it up there. This looks so fun. Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to play around with this more. Yeah, that is nice. Have you seen the new Spider-Man movie trailer? I'm super excited. I actually have not seen it yet. I watched all of those movies, and I was a really, really big fan of Spider-Man growing up, so I'll probably see it, for sure. But if I'm being honest, the superhero aesthetic is kind of, not really my thing anymore. I was really into it during like the first Marvel phase, like the cinematic universe and stuff up through Endgame, and then since then I haven't really been paying much attention to it. But the balloons all come from this one balloon sprite, and by the way, this balloon sprite is based off of a sprite made by Ellie Sprites, but then I shrunk it down, made it more compact, and then I adjusted the colors to use the color scheme. And I'm noticing actually there's a problem with some of the colors here. Or maybe this isn't a problem, but it's like not symmetrical. I guess it's okay that it's not symmetrical. But normally I like to keep the shading symmetrical. It is kind of odd that there's more shading on this left side compared to the right side, but I think it's okay. So what the code is doing, and I can actually show it, is there's there's potentially 6 colors. In this case, there's only 5 colors. There's 5 colors in this balloon. There's this light shading, there's the main red, and then there's 3 more darker shades going down. And the way that it handles the multiple colors in the game itself, because we only have this one red balloon sprite, there's no other... Whoops. I accidentally added a bug. I think I need to get rid of... There you go. The game crashed on me. So we have these 3 different colors of balloons here, but they really are the same sprite. Whenever we're looking at the orange or the yellow one, it's literally taking the red colors and replacing them with orange or yellow. And it's doing that through like a physical mapping. I can show that too. Color. So I have this list, this color map of all of the different colors, and I kind of wanted to organize this a little bit more. So you can see that if you ever assign like the balloon to be red, because that's all I'm doing is I am spawning a balloon and I'm setting its color to orange or yellow. I don't have to worry about all of these different shadings. I don't have to worry about all of the different details that goes into deciding the gradient. Instead, I just say spawn an orange balloon, and then it says, okay, orange is made up of all of these colors. I'm going to replace the baseline colors with the orange one. Dan, hi, welcome in. So that's how that works. And then the way I made it random is pretty simple. It's just there's an index and it counts up by 1 each time you spawn a balloon, and that's all it does. What did I miss? What's the balloon about? I'll go ahead and show it before I move on. So in the game, spawn balloons, and there were balloons already in the game, like in the Steam demo, I think. But what makes these noteworthy is that they're using the actual physics engine to do their bob up and down, and because of that, you can like push them around like actual balloons, and they float with realistic physics. It's very nice. I'm a big fan of these balloons. They're nice. Going down here, I'm going to keep making this more symmetrical because I just recently, like, last night added these M2, L2, and S2. Baron, welcome in. Thank you for stopping in. Whoops. And before I forget to mention it, actually, there's a few things I wanted to mention. I'm going to show a piece of artwork that a fan made, or that another developer made, and they're putting an Easter egg of MOONSHIRE in their game, and I want to show it because it's very, very cool. Just give me 1 second to pull it up. I should have had it ready. Okay, hopefully this will open correctly. I should have had it open already. I apologize for that. Daylight savings time. Oh man, I know that's always been rough, hasn't it? Is that the daylight savings time has been throwing off the start of stream and everything. But oh my gosh, look at this little guy here. Look how cute this is. Someone made a 3D model. The developer, their name is Andres. They're from Brazil, and they're working on a Steam game. I'll show that too. So they have this game, Rock, Paper, Scissors, Mayhem, on Steam, and they are going to be putting in a little Easter egg in the game. So be sure to check that out. But they made this 3D model of Lua, and it's so cute. It's you. Well, Andres is in the chat. Thank you for stopping in, and thank you for making this model. I really, really love it. It's the first 3D model of the character ever, and it's so cool to finally have this. Also, I wanted to mention, Andres, that I sent this over to my dad, who has a 3D printer, and we're going to try and print it. And also, another thing is it pronounced Andres or Andre? Because I looked it up, and I think that it's Andres with an S pronounced at the end, but let me know if I'm pronouncing it wrong. But yeah, I'm a big fan of this. I think it's really, really cute. Thank you so much for showing it. Yeah. Well, thank you for making it. I'm happy to have it, and if I do manage to get a 3D model, 3D print of it, print it out, I'll be definitely showing it off and showing you. I'm a big fan of it. Really cool. I'm excited for your game. So back to this. All I'm doing in the code here is making it more symmetrical because I added a bunch of new colors, and I don't like that it's not lined up properly. It's complicated to write how to say the name, but it's fine. Thanks. Sure. The other thing about the balloons is I've made it so that they don't pick up on some of the low saturation colors, because I have a lot of grays and whites and blacks, and I didn't want to have the no coloration colors included with the balloons, because I could make like a black balloon, and I can go ahead and do that. Let's do that real quick. Because I'm using this function that I made, color get next rainbow. It's just counting up red, orange, yellow, and so on, and then like cycling through. But I could literally just swap this out and say black. So then now all the balloons that we spawn are going to be black balloons. Which, you know, that still kind of looks cool. It reminds me of like Binding of Isaac bullets. They're just like black blobs. Anyway, hope you can print it. I don't know if connected all mesh correctly. Well, we'll take a look at it. The thing is, I don't know anything about 3D meshes or how 3D models work. So this is all new to me, and it's cool to kind of dabble a little bit. I'll let you know if we can make any progress. The music is a little bit louder. Let me check on that. It might be. It actually seems like it's about right, but let me know if it needs to be quieter. Do balloons also get affected by your low gravity? They should, and let's check that out. So I'm going to change this back to the color, and it's funny that you mentioned that. I have not even tested that yet. I think that they will, but the way I programmed the balloons is that, I haven't changed the gravity yet, is they bounce up, but they have like a set above ground height. So you can see like it's hovering right around like this eye line level, you know? And that's why if I think I can get one up here. Whoa! I actually can't. I need to push it up there. Like, even though I'm up on this ledge, the balloon gets up higher because it's higher up on the ledge. Sorry, I need to make it... There we go, that's better. And then I can push it off, and then it's like higher off the ground and falls down. So it has like a destination height that it's trying to reach. And I think that when the gravity shifts, that height isn't going to change, but it might bob up really high to start. So let's check that out. Use the sine function to animate the balloons. It's using gravity logic, like an acceleration decay on the vertical velocity, if that makes sense. I can't remember if it's specifically a sine function, but it's some kind of like, you know, curve shape to make it look like it's arc. It's the same algorithm, the same like calculation as for the jump. It's just gravity in general. So thankfully it lines up really nicely for the balloon as well, where if it just has like a negative weight or something like that, it's able to float up and down through like you know, different forces are pushing it up and pushing it back down. It's very artificial making it float like this, but it is still reaching like a physics height, and that's how it's operating like this. I missed 2 streams and the game looks so much more polished. Thank you. Well, really, the past 2 streams, like I did level design last week to make this little level. It's kind of nice little area to wander around in. And then as far as physics, it's just been an ongoing task of making it a little bit better. Oh, I was going to show gravity, sorry. So if I go into gravity and then I make gravity go down, let's bring it down to half gravity. So when you have half gravity and you jump, fire jumps higher. So this is what the game looks like in half gravity. That is awesome. I love the low gravity. The whole level editor is finished. I wouldn't say it's all finished, but it's in really good shape because like all of the stuff that we see on screen here was made like in the engine during stream. Like I didn't use tiled or anything for this, so it's in really good shape. So now the question is, do the balloons react to the gravity? And like, I don't think that they are from a motion standpoint. They're probably gonna be the exact same, but when they bob up, they'll probably launch a little bit higher. No, it really didn't. So actually, you know, long story short, they're not impacted by gravity very much. I think in reality, in the real world, if you were in a low gravity situation, what would a balloon do? I don't think it changes, does it? If there's any physics people in the audience, feel free to weigh in because I'm not a physicist. But I think that if you had a balloon that was like floating off the ground in real life, and then you brought it into a vacuum, or I don't know, a vacuum. This isn't a vacuum, it's just low gravity. It should be affected, yes. So do they pop if you attack them? I actually don't know. No, they just flip out. They are, something's really wrong with the... That's no good. I need to fix that. They still have some work to do. You can multiply the balloon's calculations by the gravity, lower gravity, more height. I guess that's how it should work. Yes. In reality, I think that lower gravity would mean that the balloon would just go higher. Because if the balloon... It was like in my bedroom, or in my room, I'm in my living room, and it was just like floating off the ground like it is here, just hovering at eye level. And then suddenly the Earth's gravity decayed a little bit, where it was just like less gravity. The balloon would go up. The balloon would rise upward, and I think it would just like rest at a higher point. And if I jumped off the ground, I would be able to jump higher too. Now the question is, from a functional gameplay standpoint, do I want that to happen? Do I want the balloons to go higher when there's less gravity? I actually don't think I do want that. I think that the point of the balloons hovering like this, mid-air, is meant to be just that, like a mid-air thing. I don't think that if the gravity shifts down or up, I think I want this height to remain consistent. And I still want it to bob up and down like a balloon. Can you jump on the balloon? Right now it will be really buggy if I do. But I can. It'll just be... Yeah, it just messes up. It messes up because... Let me see if I can get this barrel down here. Yeah, come on. There we go. See, I can bounce off of this barrel because I gave it properties that allow it to be jumped off of. Like that. Oh, that is awesome. And low gravity, that is so cool. That looks really cool. The shards of like wood, they really fly. Wow, that is so awesome. That is so much cooler. In English, it's called buoyancy. Yeah, there's a buoyancy property that I added to the way that the balloons go up and down. In fact, let's see if we can pull that up. This would be in Rise, I think. Buoyancy. Hover system. Buoyancy cancels gravity. What else would I have put this? Maybe here? Maybe... Oh, I love this song, by the way. If there's air in both scenarios, then yes, in the lower gravity region, the balloon will ascend. That makes sense. And I do think that's what would happen as well. The question is, do I want that to happen? I'm wondering, that's the question, is how far do I want to take this physics system? Do I want it to be so realistic where balloons have like a mass and density, and that mass and density correlates to the gravity set by the world, and then that determines the resting height that the balloon sits at? I mean, that's very... I don't know. If they are in a vacuum, both will descend. Right, because in a vacuum, things would be different. Like, in a vacuum, it would probably behave very differently. Yeah, because in a vacuum, they would have nothing to hover against. It uses the air displacement to go upwards, right? The physics formulation to it is buoyancy equals fluid density times volume occupied by the balloon x gravity. Okay, that makes sense. But I understand the physics behind it because currently it's working. Currently it works and it looks really good. The only open question right now is, do I want to make it more realistic? Would that make the game more fun? Should the balloons rise higher because they're lower density, or is it better if they always are around this spot? Because here's the thing. It is cool that balloons behave one way in regular gravity, and like in the game, I plan to make like a moon level where they have really high, really low gravity like this. And I'm wondering if I brought balloons to that area, and they go up really high, I think that would just be awkward and weird. I like motivation to finish my game. I mean, I like motivation to reach the finish line. That's really, really hard. They should keep bobbing, but at a slower pace. Yeah, I think that would be good too. They definitely should keep bobbing. Maybe they could bob like higher up and down. Like, there could be a higher like range that it goes through. The display that shows the song goes a little off the box to the left side. Oh, does it? Oh no, I hate it when that happens. Let me see if I can fix that. Oh my gosh, it does. Thank you for pointing that out. That's actually really bad. It's worse than I realized. That's better. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. Actually, I want to put that back the way it was and then move. No, we'll leave it like that. That's fine. That looks good. I didn't even notice. Yeah, it was really off. That was like I'm glad that you mentioned something because that was like way into the. It's the first time you said today. I'm sorry, I didn't see your message about that. Maybe instead of making them rise, you make them bounce. In a way, they kind of are. Like when they first get off the ground, they get a little bit higher. Whoa. Yeah. I'm noticing that the game is kind of stuttering a little bit. It's stuttering more on my screen rather than the stream. The stream looks better than my game. Yeah, it looks okay on OBS. On my screen, it's like kind of janky. That's one really obnoxious thing about game development is there's so many like technical weird issues that you have to deal with, and that part is kind of annoying. Okay. So I don't think for now, I'm going to leave the balloons as is because the logic for having them go up and down and be at this like eye level point, the whole point of this is so that I can create like a balloon popping minigame. We were talking about that a little bit earlier, how in the Steam demo, there is a bunch of balloons and you pop them for a boomerang popping minigame. And I would want these balloons to have the same sort of thing where they're at eye level so that when you throw something at it, you'll hit it. Even though I know you can jump. See, that's the thing is that I could make it so that the balloons hover higher and then you have to jump to hit them. But it's so hard to see where you are in vertical space in this game. And that's the other thing I'm trying to work on is how much do I lean into the verticality? How do the trees work? How do the tops shake like that? They are different layers. So each color is basically its own layer, and each layer moves independently, so it looks like it's swaying in the wind. There's more I could do with it. Its speed kind of needs to be adjusted a little bit, I think, but overall I like how it looks. It's so easy to get sidetracked with technical issues too. Oh yeah, it totally is. Happy Moonshire Monday, everyone. I like the balloons. Thank you. Thank you for stopping in. Buffalo Jake. I love that name. I think I said that last week, too. So let's see if there's some things that we could add to make it so the balloon can be, like, bounced on without putting in too much work. Because we got the barrel in the box. Health? I could give it health. I think maybe it just doesn't have health. Oh, and here's also where you set the hover height. So I can set the hover height to 100. Let's check that out. Let's set the hover height to 100 and see what it looks like when the balloon goes really high up. Because this is basically what it would be like in a low gravity scenario. Uh-oh. Okay, that was probably a little too high. Let's go. How about max hover height to 40? You can go the Mario Odyssey way, where jumping... One second. Where jumping on top of Cappy isn't really required anywhere, but mastering makes the game easier. Oh, totally. I want to do tons of stuff like that, where, like, you have the long jump or the double jump. I want that stuff to be fully optional, but if you know how to use the physics system and the jumping correctly, it should be able to unlock some, like, shortcuts or something like that. That sort of thing is really fun. The particles of the box and barrel should disappear for performance. Yeah, it should. And there is one thing that I do for performance with that. Sorry, I need to focus. I keep getting sidetracked. So this is what the balloons look like right now. Okay. You know, that's okay. And also, you can walk underneath of them, too. Because they're so high up. And I think that if I jump into it... Oh, the gravity's low. The gravity's back to normal, so now it feels like I'm really dense. Yeah, look at that. That's so awesome. You walk underneath of it, and then if you're high enough, you can hit it. I'm gonna do that again. That was actually awesome. Yep, can't walk underneath of it. Or you can walk underneath of it. And I hop up here, and then I should be able to, like, jump into it. Oh, that's so awesome. That is, you know what? I'm starting to change my mind. Having the really high up balloons is kind of cool. It's kind of fun. I need to work on their hitboxes too. Here's one thing I wanted to show, is if I show colliders. Look, it's just a big box. The size is not right at all. It is not right at all. Let's try and fix that. Zooming the camera out a little when jumping so it looks like the player is at a high level. Oh, that's a cool idea. How do you simulate a Z-axis in a 2D game? Oh, it's so complicated. In fact, that's what I'm making my next video about. So Buffalo Jake, stay tuned this week. It was supposed to come last week, but I'm working on a video right now. That's the whole purpose of why I made this little area here, is to make this video. But it's going to be all about the Z-axis and all of the things that I did to make this work. Because it is very, very complicated. Big fan of MOONSHIRE. Oh, that's such a good name. I might use that. I like that. I like that a lot. So I want to fix the hitboxes on the balloons. First, I'm going to make it smaller. 8, and then I think I can just set bevel equal to like 2. So that's gonna make it into an octagon. Rescue Squad Culp, thank you for stopping in. Why is the collider of the balloon on the ground? That is how colliders work in the game. If I open up this, even when the player jumps, the collider stays on the ground. The collider stays at the true XY position, because these colliders, these are a 2D game engine concept, and this Z-axis does not exist in this context. I guess I could change how the draw works. I could have the physics box draw up with... Would that be better? Should I do that? I need to learn Z-axis stuff because I want to make an RPG with Mario and Luigi style platforming. That's exactly what my game is like. And there are very few games out there that have, like, proper physics platforming like this. And Mario and Luigi is one of the few that does. I really like that franchise, and especially the pixel art style that they use. It's very impressive that they were able to do that on a GBA. And 2 different colliders on the debug. I could. And in fact, I started doing something like that. I had something where it would draw the top and bottom of these. Actually, I have a good example of that. I do actually have a good example of that. Check it out. The green box is the bottom of this platform. The green box is the bottom. And the purple box is the top. It's like the top surface of the platform. So I can walk around anywhere that's purple, but anywhere that's just green is like the wall. So I'm gonna slide off if I go too far into it. like that. So right here, I'm inside of a purple box within here, so I'm able to walk. I walk a little bit outside of it. That's what causes you to fall. Is if you have multiple stacks. Yeah, that's something I actually haven't implemented fully yet. If you connect different levels together, it gets a little bit awkward. That gets more messy. I know it does. But that's what's going on under the hood. That's what makes it work. It's really tough. Soda Piggy, welcome in. I love that name, Soda Piggy. A lot of good names in chat. Also, this song is going so hard. I love it. I love Expedition 33. I was gonna show... Oh yeah, it's still rising up. So I think that I will change it so that low gravity scenarios will cause these balloons to go up higher. So that's how the shrapnel is supposed to look normally. But then when I change it to the low gravity, I love how it looks. They like fly off. Actually, let's make it even lower. 0.3. Whoa. Boom. I love that. Love the balloons. Thanks. Yeah. Man, I do love them too. I think the stuttering starts to get more extreme the more like particles are on screen because it's getting a little bit laggy. The physics are super cool. Thanks. Yeah, I'm a big fan of how this... Whoa, look at me go! And this is a feature that, like, an accidental... Sorry, I'm stuttering really bad today. I'm sorry for that. I should have warmed up more. An accidental feature that I added is... Oh, that looks really weird, too. Particles should get destroyed after a while. Yeah, definitely. That might be part of it. I've done a lot of tests to figure out different bottlenecks, and it's gotten better over time. Every developer plays with his own game. If the game's good, that's for sure. Oh my gosh, it's so awesome. So what I was mentioning is a little hidden mechanic is that when you change directions during a flip jump, you kind of accelerate a little bit. And it's not noticeable during normal. Well, it is kind of noticeable. Like when you veer around this corner, I feel like you're accelerating a little bit. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. That is so cool. Yeah, I definitely want to add like a moon level where it has gravity like this. It would be so awesome. It's really hard to do. Yeah, he's totally accelerating when he like curves. Whoa! I bounced off a tree. What if you spam AD and you just gain speed? I did set a cap. I made it because if I didn't set the cap, you get ridiculously fast. Oh man, it's lagging really bad now. I almost wonder if there's like a memory leak because it's lagging worse than it was a second ago. Yeah, it's really, really laggy. Let me open this back up. Yeah, it's back to normal now. So there must be some kind of performance problem in the game because I'm noticing that when I like spawn a whole bunch of these balloons, it's okay for now. Yeah, it's already getting laggy. Wow, that looks weird. It looks like a giant worm. Actually, I know exactly what it looks like. There's a demon in Shin Megami Tensei that looks like this. It's like a rainbow worm. But yeah, I need to work on the, Whoa. I love this. Okay, yeah, something's wrong with the performance where it's not able to handle very many of them. Is it able to handle one? Even one seems to be... No, one's fine. It's going to take a lot of testing for me to like figure out exactly what's causing the problem, but this is not something new. I have dealt with certain things causing performance problems for a long time. Probably the bobbing calculations causing a RAM leak. Maybe like with the Blades of Grass last year. Oh yeah, that is bad. Here, we can do a test. We can do a test. I'm gonna spawn a few balloons, okay? And it's lagging like this right now. It is lagging, like noticeably. And I want to see if I leave the game open for a while. What the heck? If I leave the game open a while and just don't do anything, is the performance going to get worse? So I'll just leave this open for, let's say, for 5 minutes. So for 5 minutes, game's gonna stay open. I'm not gonna spawn any new objects, and I'm gonna see. I can take this a step further. I can show the FPS. Can you guys see that? Yes, you can. You can. So we're going to monitor the FPS, and I'm also going to start over. I'm going to start over so that we can get a better view of that. CG Kraz, welcome in. Happy Monday. Thank you. Happy Monday to you as well. We're testing out some performance issues. So I'm going to show the frame rate, and we get very consistent 60. A couple drops once in a while, but I think that's because I'm streaming and I have a whole bunch of crap running on my computer right now. But then when I spawn one balloon, shouldn't really impact anything. It became noticeable when I had like 8 or something. Still doing okay. Actually, it's not even reaching 60. Yeah, it's stuck at 59 or 57. It's not able to get up to 60 at all anymore. Adel Adam, welcome in. Running Tim, thank you for being here. Mina Toto, is Godot engine okay to perform like for you? Yeah, Godot is awesome. I haven't personally used it, but a lot of people use it. Seems like a good one. Yeah. So I can consistently show that we are definitely getting worse frame rate now that there's 8 balloons than before. And 8 balloons is nothing. That should cause no impact to performance at all. Just having these things on screen, why is that such a big performance issue? But now the question is, does just having them on screen, like, is there some kind of memory leak? Is there something actually piling up in memory that's causing the frame rate to get worse every minute? Hopefully not. But if it doesn't, if it stays around this for a while, then we'll call it good, I guess. How do you make your players' movement? Sorry. How do you make your players' movement so smooth? Mine looks very weird for some reason. A lot of things went into it. First of all, it's running off of like a physics engine, like this, and it uses acceleration and deceleration to do all the movement. So it's using a built-in physics engine for the velocity, and that in itself makes it very good for being smooth and stuff. But it does cost. It's cost. I'm so sorry for stuttering. My stuttering is so bad today, more than usual. The performance cost of doing that is more though, because physics engines are heavy. If you just use X and Y positional calculations, that's a lot less intensive than using a full engine like this. I would only recommend using a full engine if you needed to. But yeah, getting player movement down is really tough. I have a video on my channel actually for how I implement really simple movement logic in Love2D. I think it's a really good reference. You can unload balloons when they're not being used anymore, so you save CPU usage and memory. Yeah, I agree. The question is, well, first of all, how do you know that they're not, or how do I know that they're not being used anymore? Because if they're still in the level, the player could walk back over, so they'd have to be respawned or something like that. But second, there is an actual performance issue here, because I only spawned 8 balloons or something like that, and we're seeing FPS hit. That is not acceptable. There's some major problem going on with how I'm calculating this stuff, where just having a few of these on screen is causing a performance problem. That's not okay. That's like a deep-rooted issue with how I implemented this. So I'm gonna have to kind of go back to the drawing board, I think. I don't use collision shapes, instead I use collision shape polygons. that makes sense. How do you calculate the balloon's physics? It's using the built-in physics engine Love2D, Box2D from Love2D, but there's a lot of custom code built on top of that. I'll go ahead and show that. Have I seen the Crimson Desert drama? Yes, I have. I know all about it. And I didn't play it myself, but I've watched lots of people play it. I've seen lots of reviews for it, and I know all about it. But overall, it seems cool. It seems like a lot of cool parts. That seems like a game with a lot of really, really cool parts. A lot of cool aspects of it. It's beautiful, and the verticality of it seems so awesome. So you can have a lot of amazing aspects of a game, but all of the other things can add up. Technical issues, user interface issues, like confusing controls. A lot of things seem to be not in its favor, and it's kind of turning people off. But I haven't played it myself, and I don't really know all the details. Have I tried using multi-threading to calculate physics? Not exactly. That's a cool idea. I should try that. Yeah, I think the marketing led some people to believe it was narrative-driven like Kingdom Come Deliverance, but it seems like a solid sandboxy game. That's the thing, is that if you treat it as a sandbox game, it seems like it's okay. It seems like it has some really good aspects of it. There are some still concerning parts, like it seems like a user interface general concern where it's kind of hard to tell what button you're supposed to press at certain parts. And it's something that I consider with my game a lot, where and Wolf will vouch for this too. I keep trying to remove buttons. Like I keep trying to remove the pickup button, and I keep trying to remove the interact button. I'm like, oh, I would be so cool if there was just an attack button and just a jump button, and that was it. It's just a joystick, a jump button, an attack button. That was it. But I keep coming back to it. I keep coming back to wanting to have specified buttons, because there's really awkward scenarios when you have too many buttons, and then there's really awkward scenarios when you don't have enough. So, like, I would love it if my game just had an attack button and a jump button. But then, like, what if there was an NPC that you wanted to talk to, and then you, like, went up and you tried to talk, but then you accidentally attacked them? That would be annoying. And with Crimson Desert, you go up to someone, you want to talk to them, but you don't know what button to press, or there's like a puzzle device you have to interact with, and it seems like it's kind of hard to figure out what button you're supposed to even press. So there's a balance there, of course. You want Moonshire to be as simple as Kirby Air Ride. Exactly. Yeah, I do. Yeah. And, you know, Kirby Air Ride has its own flaws, and I shouldn't be so fixated on the idea of removing buttons, even though I really like that idea. Because I think of like a kid. I would want a kid to play my game and have no problems with it. And a kid can play Mario because it's just the run button and the jump button, and that's it. And a kid could play Zelda 1 because it's just the A button and the B button, and that's it. But could a kid play Tears of the Kingdom? I really don't think a kid could play Tears of the Kingdom. Like, maybe like an older kid, but like a 4-year-old could not play Tears of the Kingdom. It's way too complex. So the controls are so hard in that game. And I think about those two extremes, Zelda 1 versus Tears of the Kingdom, and they both have different appeals. Kids can also play Mario Odyssey, which has a lot of buttons. That is a really good example. That is such a good example. Mario Odyssey has like the assist mode, and you can play through Mario Odyssey without doing the complex movement like we were saying before. In my game, I have the flip jump, and I want this flip jump to be fully optional. I want all of the complex movement options to be optional, but when you know how to use them, it allows you to skip content or do cool shortcuts. Complexity doesn't always come from more or less buttons. Exactly, and that's the way I see it too, and that's why I kept wanting to remove like the interact button. But I think having an interact button is important, because imagine you had like a treasure chest standing right here, a treasure chest, and I go up to it and I want to open the chest, but there's an enemy, like a slime, standing right next to it. So this guy is the chest, and then this guy is the enemy. Let's say I wanted to interact with the dummy, but the attack button is also the interact button. So I'm standing right here and I click. What is the game supposed to do? Am I supposed to interact with the chest, or the dummy, or am I supposed to attack the enemy? And that's the problem with having too many, like, options merged into one button. It's awkward where it wouldn't be clear, am I supposed to attack here or interact here? Because if this was a chest and I was trying to loot the chest, it would be very awkward and annoying if I walked up to a chest trying to loot it, but then I attacked because there was an enemy nearby or something. Could you pause the enemy, interact with... Sorry. My stuttering is out of control today. I am so sorry for that. I think I'm going to end stream a little bit early because of that, because I'm so out of it. I can't speak. Slimes are so demonized in RPGs. I mean, yeah, in this case, he's kind of a friend. He just follows you around. Sonic Adventure 2 has that problem. The B button does too many things. Oh, yeah. I remember having a problem where you spin dash off ledges unintentionally. Don't worry, Kyle. I'm working on it. I know. It's more my own, like, insecurity, the stuttering. But at the same time, I don't normally stutter this much. I think I'm just having an off day in terms of my speaking, and I should have warmed up more or had more to talk about. But at the same time, yeah, I just need to work on my speaking skills a little bit more, I think. A slime is the protagonist of my game. Oh, awesome! I love slimes. Most programs I use for tile maps and art. So I use I use Sprite for a lot of my pixel art. And even the tile maps, I edit all in Sprite here. And I'll pull up some of those tiles. It's been a while since I looked at these. Love2D is great because it's very easy to learn. I think it's generally easy to learn, but it still has some difficult aspects of it. Because you compare Love2D to, like, Unity. Unity is a lot more user-friendly. Or GameMaker. GameMaker is much easier because it has, like, a built-in editor. You make your sprites in it. It has a level editor. Everything's all in one place, where Love2D, or any framework, you have to use different programs for different tasks and then combine them all yourself. It's a little bit harder. How did you make music for my own game? I use FL Studio, and I have a bunch of virtual instruments that I use. So I make all the music myself, but it's all made through VSTs and through FL Studio, and through... I have a synth that I really like to use called Omnisphere. A lot of my interesting sounds come from that. But that thing's expensive. I don't know if I'd really recommend it for just anyone. But I love using, I love making my own music, and I love FL Studio. I think it's really good. But even FL Studio, I wouldn't say is fully necessary, because something like Reaper or LMMS can do like 95% of the same stuff. So if you're starting out with music production, anyone, I always recommend starting out with a cheap one. Or LMMS is free. Reaper is free to use for a while at least. It can be a good option because I'm poor. Yeah, definitely. I used LMMS for probably the first 5 years of making music before I bought FL Studio. And genuinely, if you told me I couldn't use FL Studio anymore and I had to use LMMS, I would be fine. It wouldn't be that big of a deal. But FL Studio is a little bit better. It's just minor improvements. LMMS can do basically all the same things. What pixel dimensions to use for your sprites and tiles? So all my tiles I keep at 16 by 16, but it's not that important. You could use any dimensions you want for your tiles. If you made it like 71 by 13, you could do that. There's no rules. 16 by 16 is very clean because it's like the power of 2, and fits into bytes really cleanly. You'll see multiples of 8s used in game development a lot. I tend to use 8s and 16s and 24s and 32s because that's just like programmer logic. Bytes are made up of 8 bits, so things tend to fit cleanly into shapes of 8, but that's not really a factor anymore. You can use literally whatever dimensions you want and it'll be fine. Oh, Gem now has a nice emote. Yeah, I added that. I added that because when I was working on the Chala Chat trailer for Steam, I thought it would be nice if there was some extra movement, so I put it in a little emote. So far right now, I just use Love2D for simpler games. For larger projects approaching Moonshire, yeah, it definitely needs to be dedicated to game engine. Yeah, I wouldn't say needs to because Moonshire is made with Love2D, but it is harder. And you know, I shouldn't even say it's harder because Godot is hard too. And Love2D is hard, but they're hard in different ways. Love2D is like a harder learning curve, more setup. It's not a fully fleshed out engine, it's a framework. An engine has like the whole built-in everything. Pico 8 uses standard 8x8 tiles. It's a little limiting. Yeah, Pico 8 is super small scale pixel art where it's like minimalist pixel art. And I like that style. But that would probably get on my nerves too. I think of like the Celeste Pico 8 style. Let's pull that up. I like how that looks. Celeste Pico 8. Actually, I can probably watch this on YouTube. Celeste Pico 8. There we go. So for anyone who doesn't know, Pico 8 is a Lua-based game engine. So it's using the same programming language as Love2D. But it's kind of like a little contained game creation software where it has the pixel editor, it has the coder, the code editor, it has the level editor. It's all built in. So it's kind of like a mini game engine. You have to be really good artists to make it 8x8 work. Yeah, it's such a constraint. And you might think, oh, well, lower pixel art, that means it's going to be easier, right? And no, actually, it could be harder. It's hard to make things look good when you have so few pixels to work with. I think that someone who's used to drawing like freehand, high fidelity digital artwork might have a little bit of a challenge adjusting to pixel art because it's all about the limitation of how few pixels you have. You have to make the most of it. And it kind of takes a lot of practice to get used to that when you're used to having unlimited pixels to work with. I got to go, sorry. Have a great stream. Thank you. Thank you for stopping in, Mr. Banana. Is it possible to keep permanent, destroyed, or damaged ground and environment by a player, boss, or mobs? Yes, but you have to save it. You have to save all that data. So the way I do it, and I'll pull this up in the file system actually. One second. This isn't the best example, but this is a save data from the Steam demo. So if you opened up your save data from the Steam demo, it would look something like this, but it would be all filled in. So this is an empty version. One of these is called breakables. And breakables is like the boulders that you blow up or obstacles that you clear. And so what it would be like is you blow up a boulder and it would just put in boulder 1A map 4 _ town. So every single boulder in the game has a unique ID. And in Tiled, I would go through, every single one had a unique ID. And when you destroyed one, it would add that string to this list. And that way, when the level loads again, you leave the area and you come back later, it'll compare every one of those IDs to this list. Excuse me. It'll compare every one of those IDs to this list. And if that boulder's ID exists in this list, that's how you know it's been broken. And so the boulder will not spawn at all. And so that's how save data works. And even at a large scale, so think of like Minecraft or Donkey Kong Bonanza or Pokopia, where you can change the terrain. It's still going to be a bunch of data stored like this. It's going to store big chunks of generalized data to help you help the game remember what all is different. And I'm gonna go ahead and open up the level data because that's a pretty good example of that too. You can see that every blade of grass has a specific position and like an ID. Now the blades of grass, these don't have unique IDs because the blades of grass do not persist. I don't bother with saving what blades of grass you cut, and so these do not have any sort of unique ID to them. But I haven't implemented. I need to re-implement this. But if I rock, pebble, stone, called stone. So I have these stones here, and if I wanted to make them breakable, or let's say I had a new type called boulder. Like I said, boulder. ID is like the object ID. If I wanted it to persist, it would need a UID, like boulder. And then actually the UID could append the map name, so I don't have to include the map name inside of this. I'll give it like 1A Northwest or something like that. So when the boulder is spawned in, it'll have this UID, unique ID, applied to it, and this UID is like it says, unique ID. It's like a driver's license. It helps the game identify which one is which and which ones have been destroyed or not. The list can increase infinitely, right? Yes, it can. I don't understand ordering layers. For example, barrel must be behind our character, but our character's in front. Oh, that's such a good question. What you're thinking about is the classic Y sort problem. And here, I'm gonna close this down. Draw order to fix your problem. Yeah, it is the Y sort draw order. I have a whole bunch of logic in the game dedicated to this, because like you said, I have this barrel, and the player is in front of the barrel here, but he's behind the barrel here. And how is that possible? And the way it does that is every single frame, it is iterating through every single object. And it figures out the Y position. So I think I have a dedicated file for this. Y sort is what I called it. And literally what it does is it receives a whole bunch of objects. So in this case, in the game, it's all these props, all these trees, all the NPCs, the mobs, the player. It receives all of those objects, and it has them all stored in a big long list. And then the code goes through, and it literally, I'm going to see where it, effective sort Y. So this is where it applies a compare entries, sort pool. I'm trying to remember where the entry point is. Add tile, what? Sort static. Oh, here it is. Sort static layer. So you have compute effective sort Y. Here it is. So set static. You have the layer, so all of the objects are on the same like object layer, and so you have this compute effective sort Y. It's literally taking every object in the pool, and it's going to go through each one, figure out where in the world it exists, the Y position. Y position, by the way, is the up down. So since the player is farther down the screen than the barrel, the player appears in front. Since the barrel is farther down the screen than the player, the barrel appears in front. And the blade of grass is farther down the screen than the barrel, so the blade of grass appears in front. It does this for everything. It sorts everything to make sure that only the stuff that appears in front stays in front, you know. By the way, this is the boulder I just created by mistake. I already had a boulder in the game, but this is the one I added. Any entering, see you next time. Yeah, thanks for stopping in, appreciate it. I think I'm gonna end stream in like 10 more minutes because I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how things go. Your explication is legendary. Thank you. Explication. Explanation? Oh, I got it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Explication, I think, is like swearing. Why sorting is quite hard to do. Yeah, it is. I mean, as you can see, I have a file of 500 lines to handle just the sorting process. It's not even handling the gathering process. This file here, render.lua, this handles the gathering and putting everything into the correct layer. And this file just handles the sorting of the layer. So you give a layer to this and it sorts it. Render handles the layer gathering stuff. It's very, very, very time consuming. Is that custom code? Yep. Yep, everything's custom. The Y sort is and the render is. Sorry for stuttering. Before I forget to mention it, I'm going to be streaming tonight on Twitch. I've been streaming every evening on Twitch on Monday. So the whole idea is I stream in the mornings on YouTube for Moonshire Monday, and then in the evening I'll be on Twitch. If anyone, just in case anyone misses the stream, I'm so sorry for stuttering. I'm stuttering a lot. The whole idea is I want to get more used to streaming on both platforms, especially with Chala Chat. I have Chala Chat coming out, so I want to be more used to it. What are we playing? Today, I'm going to be playing Pokopia. I got myself a Switch 2, and I heard Pokopia was good, so I've been playing it, and it's good. The thing is, Pokopia is like a sandbox Minecraft-style game, and that really isn't my type of thing. I hate Twitch. I don't hate Twitch, but like that's what I mean, is that it's nice to stream on both platforms so that some people can do one, some people can do the other one. And I've been having fun with Pokopia, but it's very it's open-ended. It's very player-driven. I bet multiplayer would be a lot of fun. Very creative. A lot of stuff about making your own things, building your own structures. And I like it a lot more than most of those types of games, because when it's too open-ended, like Minecraft, I have a lot of trouble getting into Minecraft because it's so open-ended. I really just don't even know what to do. I get bored. And Pokopia has so many goals to do, and that part I think is great, is that I always have something to work on. But some of the tasks are kind of boring. Like, it's a lot of punching through walls, it's a lot of picking up trash and cleaning things up, which is satisfying. There is some enjoyment in that process, but it is tedious at times, where it's like I would spend 15 minutes just like bashing through blocks and cleaning things up or moving inventory items around. There's a lot of tedious aspects of it, but that's kind of part of the fun. Weird I didn't hear about it. Yeah, it's an interesting game, but I think it's cool. Is that by the same people as Dragon Quest Builders? Oh, is it? Oh, Celeste is still playing, by the way. Who? Koei Tecmo. Did they make Dragon Quest? Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Well, that explains why it's so high quality. Yeah, I knew it wasn't Game Freak that was making it. But hearing that it's by the same developers as Dragon Quest Heroes, or Builders, that's amazing. Because that explains a lot. They're really similar games. So yeah, I'll be playing that tonight on Twitch for a little bit. It'll be really chill. And can you give tips from naming files? I have 12 sprites named bg.png. Let's go through some of my files, because I have all kinds, and I love file naming. I love naming files. I'm also gonna open up the Zoomer. Back from some weeks off. Thanks for stopping in. I'm glad you could be here. So let's go into, let's say, here, one second. I'm gonna move this over. So let's go into the items. So these are just like item names. This zoom in sucks. God, that sucks. I'm sorry. Windows is just so bad at zooming in. Look how tiny the text is. You can't read that. But all of my items are just named what they are. Let's think of better ones. Tiles, and then cliff. Clef. I think part of the naming has to do with the file structure too. Because I have all of the sprites organized within folders, And so since they're in a folder, I don't really have to be explicit about like what exactly it is. Like in Parallax, I have a folder within a folder title. And here, these aren't very descriptive, but they are ordered. That's the other thing too, is that part of the name, if you have a number included, or sometimes I like to put underscores at the start of it. So if I go over into like, probably in Hero, oh no, here, in Edit. I have this folder called Edit_Edit because underscore file names always appear at the top. So that's why it is. How are you so sorted? I can't find my files even in my small projects. It's mainly the folder structure, is that everything has a folder, and that way I can just like, I can name things very bluntly. Crack 1. And that's what this sprite is. It's just Crack 1. And it exists in sprite stickers, and that's all I really need to know. Don't have a release date. Yeah, I know. It's gonna be coming soon, I'm hoping. But I think I'm going to call it quits for today because I kind of want to take a break and go get some lunch. And next week I'm going to come a little bit more prepared. I'm going to warm up my voice. I'm going to warm up my tongue twisters. She sells seashells down by the seashore. The shells she sells are seashells for sure. I need to try and say that a million times before stream. Thanks for another Moonshire Monday. Congrats on the progress. Thank you. Thank you for that. And also, before I forget to mention, if anyone is able to, Chala Chat is on Steam. It's in pre-release right now. It's going to be releasing on Wednesday, as far as I know, on the 25th. So if you're able to, I'd love it if you could wishlist, and I'd love if you could keep your eyes on this and check it out. But I will be on stream tonight on Twitch at 7 p.m. Central Time, so that's in 8 hours from now. If anyone wants to stop by and say hi, I'll be there. And I will be back next week for yet another Moonshire Monday. Thanks everyone for stopping in, and I'll see you next week. Bye everyone.